We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello dear students, today we are going to learn about the UV visible spectroscopy. UV stands for ultraviolet and visible. These two are the major segments of electromagnetic EM spectrum. Electronic orbitals of atoms and molecules have their characteristics energy, as we all know, which giving a rise to a set of discrete energy levels which can be easily seen from the figure. That means ground state, excited states. There may be first excited state, second excited state, and so on. That means a set of discrete energy levels. An electron is able to change from an occupied orbital to another orbital by two possibilities, that is by gaining energy or by losing energy, only in amounts exactly corresponding to the difference between two energy levels, that is known as energy gap. From this figure we can see the ground state energy E0, the first excited state energy E1. The band gap or the energy difference between these two energy states is delta E, that is E1 minus E0, which is exactly equal to the light energy or photon energy h mu. So, UV visible spectroscopy is mainly used to identify the energy gap or the energy difference between the ground and excited states of any kind of material. So basically the typical energy difference between the ground and the first excited states of many molecules corresponding to the electromagnetic waves of the ultraviolet, that is UV, and visible regions of electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum is shown in this figure where different regions like gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, visible. Visible spectrum has also the different segments like violet, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. After that, according to the increasing wavelength, after visible frequency there will be IR spectrum, that is infrared, then microwave, then radio waves. Radio waves have major two segments, FM, that is frequency modulation radio waves, AM, amplitude modulation radio waves, and beyond this wavelength we have long radio waves. As you can see from the figure, with increasing wavelength the frequency is decreasing. Hence frequency and wavelength are inversely proportional to each other. So why these ultraviolet and visible regions of electromagnetic spectrum are appointed to identify the energy difference between the ground and first excited states? Because this kind of energy differences can be easily detected in these two regions only, and hence we have selected UV and visible. And due to all this fact, the topic has been entitled as UV visible spectroscopy. This is the experimental setup for UV visible spectroscopy. You can see there are two major intensities we are going to detect from this experiment for sample, that is capital I, and for the reference material, that is capital I0. In the initial stage of experiment, the UV and visible light source are passing from the color filter and gently entered into the entrance slit. After the total internal reflection that can be seen from the stage 2, the UV visible rays are passing from the exit slit and then it gets in contact with the half mirror. After contacting with the half mirror, the rays are diffracted in the reference material as well as in the sample material. So the difference in the intensities of reference material and sample material, because the same energies have been passed out from the reference and sample material, so what will be the output? That is nothing but the energy gap. So this absorption phenomenon can be understood by the Lambert-Beer law. So what is this Lambert-Beer law? After crossing a thin slice delta x of absorbing sample, the light intensity I of delta x is reduced or is smaller by an amount proportional to the initial intensity I0 and the thickness of the slice. So the intensity of the investigating sample I delta x is equal to I0 minus alpha I0 delta x, where delta x is the thickness of slice, I0 is the initial intensity, alpha is the proportionality constant. Rearranging equation number 1, we will get I delta x minus I0 divided by delta x is equal to minus alpha I0. So the numerical term is the difference of intensity, so we have denoted it as di. The denominator term is the difference in the thickness, so that is dx, which is a differential equation and every equation has a solution. So the solution of equation number 2 is in the form of Ix is equal to I0 exponential minus alpha x. By convention, for easier solution, this Lambert-Beer law is usually written in decadic form. Instead of exponential term, we are replacing equation number 3 with the natural 10 decadic form. So Ix is equal to I0 10 raised to minus ax. Moreover, if the material has the higher concentration of molecules, so the higher concentration we are supposing it as small c, the larger is its area, and because the area is equal to the epsilon into c, where epsilon is the molar extinction coefficient, so the light intensity after a sample of thickness d is now will be given as id is equal to I0 10 raised to minus epsilon cd. It is a measure of the probability that an electronic transition takes place when a molecule interacts with a light of wavelength lambda, and here the wavelength will be in the range of UV and visible wavelengths. By convention, the sample thickness d is given in centimeter, the concentration is given in mole per liter, that is molarity. Consequently, the unit of molar extinction coefficient, that is epsilon, is capital L upon mole per centimeter. So finally the unit of epsilon is molarity inverse into centimeter inverse. Moreover, UV visible spectrometers usually display the absorption, that is A lambda, which is the negative log ratio of transmitted over incident intensity. See, the transmitted intensities are for sample in beam and the incident intensities are for no sample in beam. So the absorption can be identified using the equation negative log base 10 id upon I0, that is equal to epsilon lambda CD. That is equation number 7. So how the results will be given in terms of UV visible spectrometer? So absorption band and full width at half maximum. See, FWHM stands for full width half maximum. So here the shaded area is an approximation for the integral over the full spectrum, and hence this area is considered as the wavelength difference can be further converted into their energy difference. So that is the band gap energy for any molecule. And after this UV visible light interaction, what types of electronic transitions are possible? So ground state levels have sigma bonds, pi bonds. Beyond that, there is a non-bonding energy level, and after that we have some excited states like sigma star and pi star. So in the excited states there is anti-bonding takes place, and in the ground states there is a bonding reactions are taking place. So UV visible spectroscopy additionally gives information about the interaction between the molecules inside the material, and the major identification which can be carried out using this spectroscopy is the identification of energy band gap of any material. But precisely, if you want to identify the energy band gap, we have to consider the material with thickness in the centimeter, and for the materials with lower thickness than the centimeter, we can have some abnormality in the outcomes of this experiment. Thank you for visiting this lecture.